Good morning. Thank you very much for staying. I've been given the word that we need to get going because she's got something else to do. I'm Richard Colvin. This is James Wally. I'd like to introduce the other members of the Parish Hall Committee that are here. Dave Pillipoli is here. Danny Wiles is there. I saw Elaine. Eileen's in the back. Eileen Keeling. Hank Patch, where did he go? There's Hank, sorry, hiding from me. So, as you can see, we've already got some tangible progress towards our project, thanks to your generosity of our entire parish. We have a beautiful new playground. Please focus on that and not the mud pit that's where our parish hall will eventually go. Hopefully that will be seeded and we'll get some hay and everything down there. So for the few months that it's not going to have anything on it, it won't look the eyesore that it is today. But envision, and we're about to help you envision what will be coming there, hopefully in the next year or so, or it might take a little longer. But just to give you a quick update of where we are now and kind of the things that are in progress, I'm going to turn it over to James, and then we will show you our video.
Okay, thank you. All right, so everybody, I think without exception, everybody in this room is probably a donor to the Parish Hall campaign. If you're not, I want you to, over the course of this event, think about, can you give something to this effort? This is going to transform this place. There'll be no more coffee hours back there in that narthex where we're all cramped together. We're going to have a nice facility where we can gather, have fellowship, build our bonds as a parish family. For those that have been around a while, you know we've been pursuing the Parish Hall effort for some time. It kind of was spawned from our Pave the Parking Lot and Driveways campaign that we did back in 17, was it, Richard? Okay. And so, you know, this church was planned for additional buildings to include a parish hall. It was not built when the church moved from Lorimer up here to this location in 2000. And so now it's time to build that parish hall, and we're going to do it together. So what have we done to date? COVID slowed us down, but we're back underway, and the momentum continues to pick up. We have, in coordination with multiple successive vestries at this point, executed architectural design contracts, civil engineering contracts, playground design and construction that was recently completed some weeks ago. We're going to watch a rendering of what the proposed parish hall looks like in just a minute here. I think perhaps you've seen this on the church's Facebook page or YouTube link. And that was the product of many months, probably a year's worth of planning, space planning, aligning budget, scope and budget together. What can we actually achieve? What can we be successful at? So that's where we are. That's a synopsis of about 5 years of work, interrupted by COVID. We're going to watch this video. Then I'm going to tell y'all real quick about what the next several steps looks like, and then we will stop and field questions. This is more of a fireside chat, not an hour-long presentation. So Hank, if you would. So that video's got something like 400 views on YouTube now, and I hope that it sort of gets out in the community. You know, this will serve this parish first and foremost, but it's also going to be an asset to the community, this neighborhood, the town. So, you know, please encourage others that are not members of this church to think about contributing to the St. Albans Parish Hall effort. All right, so we'll field questions. I'm sure there will be some about this building, but at a very high level, what does the parish hall contain? Well, it contains the big hall space for us all to gather. It's comparable. It's not to the square foot exact, but it's comparable to the nave that we're sitting here now. So imagine the nave cleared out, the chancel, the altar, the organ box, all of that gone. That's about the shell, approximately, of what the parish hall will be. Beyond that shell, it will include a commercial kitchen. We have 2 kitchenettes, one downstairs and one right out those doors. We'll have a true kitchen where we can serve meals, support the Lenten pancake suppers and other events that we do throughout the year. The parish hall, when we advertised during the capital campaign, would be accessible only from an exterior door. And you saw that exterior door in the video, and we'll still have that. But what we are going to be able to do with this project is actually access the parish hall from internal to the building. That will be accomplished by going through the choir room. The old choir room will be lost to provide for an internal connection into the parish hall. The old choir room will move into the high school youth room. And then the high school youth group will have 2 locations to relocate to. One will be the remnant of the choir room. We'll repurpose that as a space for gatherings for the high school group. And also with the parish hall project, we're going to purchase mobile walls on wheels that will be stored in the closet that the parish hall will have, so that you can flex space that big hall. You know, imagine carving out with some mobile walls a little space for a book group or things of that nature. So that's how everybody's accommodated: the choir, the youth group, and the parish itself, by having interior connection to this hall. All right, so where are we headed? We've got 5 prongs in motion concurrently. One is land development reviews. We have to receive land development approval by Mecklenburg County and the town of Davidson. That submission was made about a week ago, and those reviews are underway. We have to get building design approval by what's called the Town of Davidson Design Review Board, which acts as a citizen advisory board that weighs in on ultimate recommendations to approve by the town planning department. Now, Davidson development is not an easy thing to pursue, but it will be easier for us, I believe, because this is a by right development, which means we have vested development rights established in 1999 when this church campus was permitted first by the town. That's the second thing that's in motion. The third is approval by the Diocesan Standing Committee for our needs to take out some amount of mortgage obligation in order to service the debt to construct the parish hall. If we have questions about that, we'll have Danny and Carmen, who've been our lead coordinators with the Standing Committee, field any of those questions. All right, we've also got to, as I just mentioned, take on some mortgage obligation with the bank. Y'all were very generous in donating to this project, and we thank you for it, but it wasn't enough. We're going to have to pursue some funding by the bank. That is, unless someone here wants to write a big check after this presentation, then we'll be good. We'll get rid of the bank. So that's underway. Again, Danny's been our point of the spear on that effort, and he can field questions that you may have. Finally, we're going to have to get a general contractor on board to build this thing. So in efforts to further that goal, we've had preliminary communication with several contractors, but the one we've had the most discussion with was the general contractor who built this building we're sitting in right now. They are interested in pursuing this project again, and I think it would be beneficial to both parties if we ultimately partnered with them again to build the expansion. So they provided some constructability reviews during that year or so duration of time in which we set the scope, the parameters of the parish hall, and I fully expect that they will be a bidder when we release this job for bid. And that is planned for May if we are successful in our timeline on getting all the approvals we need from Mecklenburg County and the town of Davidson. So if we release the project to bid in May, we will go to construction in August, and construction will probably take about 1 year. And then the mud pit that Richard referenced will no longer be a mud pit, and it'll be a very nice, beautiful complement to this existing church. So that's the canned presentation, and now we'll play round robin with the microphone and pass it around. So we encourage any questions you may have. Go ahead.
Yes, what is the occupancy plan as far as the parish hall, as far as how many people could be seated? Is it like 280?
If memory serves me correct, I think we landed on 268.
Something like that. And then, assuming then that you would be able to have seated events or whatever, where will all the tables and chairs be stored? Is there in the storage area?
There is a closet in the building, but again, we're not going to have all the tables put up and taken out back and forth. But there is a closet that's, Hank, can you, if you pull that link up, can I kind of guide you into spots? We can use this as sort of like yeah, we'll take you there.
You may want to repeat the question, since this is being videoed and it's cast online. I'm not sure if you.
Okay, thank you, Danny. There were two questions there. One was, how many people will the parish hall support? The answer is north of 250. I want to say 268. And then this follow-up question was, where is the closet inside the parish hall? And Hank will go back in time a little bit for us. Go back to about the 1 minute mark, maybe. A little bit more. A little bit more. All right, stop. Thank you, sir. This is me walking into the exterior door to the parish hall. You go in the hall that way. You turn to your left. You go back through what will be the remnant of the choir room to go to internally access the downstairs. This is the closet space that you were asking about.
And that was sufficient for chairs and tables and
Yes.
all that work?
But the thought is, as he said, probably leaving the chairs and tables out as a general rule rather than putting them up and taking them out.
But leaving them out, so seating's already there.
Exactly. So it'd be the opposite of what we do in here. We clear the space when we need to do something, or we need to have tables and chairs. There, the tables and chairs will be there. Well, we put them up when we need to have a hockey rink.
Third question, so with these portable walls that you're talking about, would that be sufficient for meeting rooms and that kind of thing?
We're going to purchase with the building itself enough walls to create one meeting space. Think about the size of the high school youth room. We'll purchase enough walls that will live in that closet that can be deployed to create a meeting space, whether it's for the youth room, it's a book club, what have you.
Now, they obviously won't go all the way to the ceiling. We have vaulted ceilings, but they will provide for us.
Go ahead.
Will we be able to utilize the round tables that we already own? Is that part of it?
We certainly can consider that. We budgeted to buy all new tables and chairs, so it's all a uniform look. Yes, ma'am. So, and Courtney, I know you've been looped into sort of the plan for this, and I thank you for the question. Thank you, Richard. I need that reminder every time. All right, the question was, can the high schoolers still keep their current room, even though we're going to have to take part of it to get into the parish hall from the interior? And so the response to that is that this video doesn't go back into the old building to show this in detail, but we can share a floor plan for anybody that's interested. But the answer is about a third of that room will become a hallway, so that when you're in the downstairs of the interior building, you can go through that hallway to get into this building. So about 60-75% of that room will remain. and it can be used to relocate those couches, beanbags, etc. But it's never going to be a true room anymore. It'll be an ante-room, a bump out. It would be like if this is the hallway that I'm walking through right here to go to the parish hall, you would have this box here where the organ box sits that you could have as a room, as a space. But it will never be a walled space with closed doors. It's not ideal, but budget is what it is. And Courtney, do you have anything you want to add to that?
So the rough plan is that we would take and renovate what is now the middle school room. So the room that's in the center at the bottom of the stairs, what I will do is have the youth group come in and we're going to start to imagine that space and make that space our own. There's so many things that will be moved out of that space. The big black partition board that we don't do anything with, we probably need to clean. Some of the closets definitely are going to be cleaned out. So my hope is that we would eventually have one for youth and one for children. We will make that our youth room space. And then of course, any of the extra space that is from Parish Hall, we will definitely go ahead and utilize some of that too for youth group or, that kind of thing. But essentially, we're going to take that youth room and we're going to transform that middle room as the youth room. And then we will begin meeting in some of the preschool rooms again. I was just talking to them about that downstairs with Ann Todd about how we're going to start to utilize the preschool space again because Sunday school, because of the fact that we have lots of families and kids coming back. So next year is really going to be almost like going back to where we were pre-COVID. So yeah, that's the plan for the space. But you are going to be intimately involved in helping me to redesign that middle room.
Thank you, Courtney. Pat?
So the tables and chairs are in the budget. What about all those things that are needed in the kitchen?
Yes, it is in the budget. All the kitchen equipment is in the budget. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I assume there are restrooms in this area.
Okay, the question was, are there restrooms? Hank, advance the video maybe 20 seconds, please. Stop right there. Let's try that. Okay, so this animation does not take you into the restroom that the building will have, but here is your entrance into the kitchen, and on this wall further back, right about here, will be one family restroom. We do not have a family restroom in the existing church, and we thought as a committee it was important to have a family restroom in the facility, but this building will have just that one family restroom. Again, by having that internal connection back through the existing building, folks can make their way back to the bank of men and women's restrooms that exist downstairs right now. Yes?
In regards to the restroom, I remember early on it was suggested that we have showers before we're in the unit or if anyone after.
Thank you for the question. The question was, are there showers in this parish hall? The answer is no, there are not. Any project is the alignment of budget, scope, and ranking of needs. If we had an unlimited budget, I might be giving you a different answer, but unfortunately we have what we have to work with, and when we weigh that out against the needs of the parish hall and the space available to put within the box, there are no showers. Other questions? I'll have a newcomer. Yes, sir.
I assume you have a PA system as well.
Okay, the question was, is there a PA system in the budget? The answer is yes, sir, there is. Hank, do you want to circle around in the video, keep advancing it? All right, good, thank you. All right, so up on this bulkhead, we're proposing to install a very large TV screen. That was something that we had a lot of feedback on about. It would be nice to have that to stream the services into the parish hall for overflow on Christmas and Easter primarily. So yes, it will be outfitted for proper technology needs. And I think Eileen's back here. Eileen has provided us some good context for, wedding receptions. Folks might not want a TV screen present at all times. So I think what this does not show, but what we'll probably end up doing is having a shield, a cover on rollers that would be able to hide the TV, if someone was having a formal wedding event, they didn't want a TV screen in all their pictures. So does that answer the question?
That's specifically what you're speaking on right now, microphone, that kind of system, you have that, don't you?
Yes, it'll.
Wait till they call AV system, so I wanted to make sure I understood.
Yeah, no, they're great questions. Yes, the room will function like this room functions for us. Sure. All right. Other questions? I know there's one over here. Are there others? Anyone else? Go ahead.
I was going to ask about wedding reception. So this obviously would be enough for a wedding reception. But then if you have all these people, so then the only restroom then is a family restroom where the bride's changing. Where's one go? Family restroom?
Yeah, so thank you for the question. I hear what you're asking. The question was, there's a wedding reception or there's a big parish event, say. Where do you go if you need to use a restroom? Well, you have two choices. One, you can go to the family restroom if you want to stay close. Your other choice, and this is the choice I will make, is to go through these double doors into what is now the choir room, leave the choir room, and then you're in the foyer downstairs where the stairs outlet, and you walk a little bit further and you get to the restrooms downstairs where you have men and women's facilities. So that's where most folks, I think, will end up using the restroom if they're in the parish hall. Question?
Couldn't the bride just use the room out here in the corner and the rest of it here? Bride?
Yeah, bride can get wherever she wants. It's her day.
Kind of some of the earlier plans, we had this neat little room with stairs going down. It was to be a perfect bridal suite, but that was one of the things that got cut. The budget got tight. So, long refusal I hate to change the budget.
I hate you too, Richard. All right, ladies first.
Did I see in the video that this window was replicated?
Yes, for a great question. If you didn't hear it, the question was, are we replicating the storefront windows that we have in the nave? Are we doing that on the north-facing wall of the parish hall? And the answer is yes, we are. Tie it all together. Make it look like this was always here when this place opened 20-some years ago. Yes, sir. Good question. The question was, are we maximizing the footprint available for where the parish hall is sited, should there be any future expansion to the building? And the answer is two-pronged. The first answer I'm going to give you is, we're very close to maxing things out. And the second question is, or the second answer I'm going to give you is, can you do something creative after the fact? Absolutely. With enough money, we can build anything we want back there. But it's getting close to putting about as much as we can out back there. I'll get you next. Yes, ma'am. All right, the question is there going to be a fee to rent the hall for community events not specific to the parish? The answer to that doesn't come from the parish hall committee. It would need to come from the St. Albans vestry. Yes, ma'am.
On the higher walls. I was wondering,
All right, we had an interior decorating question, and that was about the chair colors, the wallpaper here, and perhaps the ceiling, the royal blue ceiling up top. The answer is none of that's set. Architect just put something in here to give us color contrast so that we could conceptualize what it could be. This wainscoting that you see in here, I'll be honest with you folks, we are not going to have that. That's a six-figure expense to put wainscoting around a 4,700 square foot building. We won't have that. The architect, it broke his heart when I told him you have to get rid of X, Y, and Z, and I said, you can keep that, but I'm going to tell everybody at this meeting that they won't see that wainscoting in the final building. So no, we're open to suggestions. When you walk out of here in the narthex, there is the Parish Hall Committee bulletin pamphlet. It has a communications email, I think, where we'll take any suggestions from the congregation. We'll incorporate those as we go through design. Great question, thank you. Are there others? Yes, sir. Thank you for the question, and I'm going to look to Danny to come up here and talk about the plan of finance for the building. The question is, what is the ratio of debt to funds available to provide the project without incurring debt?
Yeah, thanks. And I'm just going to do this so you can hear me and they can hear me on the recording. Numbers are not 100% final yet. We're still getting pledges in. I'll start out with a cost estimate. The cost estimate for the building, including the playground, everything all in, what I'll call hard cost, 2.4, still a good number, $2.4 million. It is always prudent to add some level of contingency. We're going to run into bumps here or there. James does this stuff for a living, said $200,000 is a reasonable contingency, up to. So the vestry's approved up to $2.6 million. Let's use 2.5 to talk from. That's a nice round number. As soon as we use half of the contingency. So $2.5 million cost. Our parish hall pledges as of Friday were $1,684,000. Yeah, it keeps going. Get us to $1.7 million. Do I hear $1.7 million? So the more that number comes up, our cost stays fixed, the lower the rest goes. We used $100,000 of that $1,684,000 to pay down the existing mortgage over a year ago. The donor, it was a specific donor, the idea came up, and we're like, absolutely. That saves us mortgage interest from that day forward. So that was a very prudent thing to do. So that leaves us with $1,584,000. Some portion probably won't get collected. So people will move or something. So I'm going with $1.5 million for round numbers. $2.5 million costs, $1.5 million through contributions. That leaves $1 million to pay. The church has been very blessed and very fortunate over the years. We've built up cash reserves, unrestricted cash balances. People contribute. Our budget, we do a little bit better. We manage our costs. And so the church currently has about $750,000 of available cash balances for reserves. We will keep a portion of that in reserves, rainy day funds. $250,000, I'd say at least. So that leaves rough numbers again, $500,000 of existing funds to put towards the parish hall. So then the last piece is the borrowing. 2.5 less 1.5 less a half leaves us $500,000 of incremental mortgage of what we're looking at right now. Our current mortgage on this facility is about $420,000. We've been able to pay it down nicely over the years. And so that I am the finance guy, so for me it is the most important thing, is that we make sure that whatever we encumber this church with, we're able to serve readily without getting into a bind. Most folks probably know what's happening in the interest rate environment right now. We looked at this a year and a half ago, and I looked at interest rates of like 5%, and people thought I was crazy. It's like, well, they'll never go that high. They're like 3.5, Danny. Well, now the most recent modeling we did was like 6.5 to 8%. So we're trying to be mindful of everything there. So I'll stop. I'll take any questions on that or anything else. Yeah, the question is, at what decision do we kind of nail this thing down? What we will do, the current thinking is this summer, when James has got his bids in and he's ready to award the work to the general contractor, at that time, we will basically work with a bank to lock in a construction loan. We will use our existing proceeds first to cover the monthly costs. Excuse me. And so, there'll be a fair amount of money there. Our current estimate is we can make it till about March of next year before we actually start needing to dip into the construction financing. So should we get another $500,000 in the next year in toward that parish hall, we got zero mortgage. And so we'll be kind of working that. The mortgage will be the last piece, if you will. That'll be the piece that we solve for. And so right now, like I said, we're looking at about $500,000. We'll probably ask the vestry to approve up to $600,000 kind of thing. James has got his extra $100,000 of, not the vestry, the diocese to approve that. So that's kind of how we'll do that. We will lock the mortgage in once the building is finished. Whatever that construction loan balance is, we'll convert into probably a 20-year mortgage at kind of whatever the interest rates are at that time. That's another, wild card here. They can't go any higher. Of course, right? They got to be lower by then. So that's current thinking there. It won't get any, well, as soon as James doesn't increase his cost estimate, it won't be any higher than the numbers that I'm talking about. It'll just go down hopefully as we see construction, some more funds will come in.
Are there any other questions before we wrap this thing up? This is y'all's time. We're here for you to answer anything you got. Or otherwise, we'll thank you for your time and ask you to throw a couple dollars in the plate on the way out, and we'll go have lunch.
Thank you.
Okay.
I figured we might want to end with a couple things. First, a big thank you to our Parish Hall Committee. As you can see and hear today, this group is knowledgeable, wise, prayerful, thoughtful, and courageous. And they, every step of the way, have led with both faith and prudence. And I am just so grateful for all of the work that has been done, all of the work that is yet to do, but is in process. So thank you all so much. And James had the wonderful suggestion that we might close our time together today in prayer with our campaign collect. Some of you all will remember this. We prayed this every Sunday during the campaign, and so it will sound familiar if you were around here back in the spring, but let us pray. Lord Jesus, you spoke in parables of growing seeds. You gathered strangers around tables and called them friends. You knelt at the disciples' feet to teach them how to serve one another. Now you have moved us to build a space in which we can ever more faithfully follow your example of growing, gathering, and serving. We offer our gratitude for the vision and work of previous generations who helped make St. Albans what it is today. As we build on that foundation, give us their energy, commitment, and generosity. May this project strengthen our love of you and our neighbor. Bless and guide our work, begun, continued, and ended in you, that it may glorify your name and help us become the beloved community you call us to be. Amen. Thank you all.